In this tutorial, I will show you how to make this summer top. Let's get started. We're going to start by making the cups of this top. Place a slip knot on your 5.5mm hook. Now if you don't want to use a larger hook for the beginning chain, you can just work the initial chain a little looser than you would normally crochet. I'm chaining 15 stitches so that the beginning chain is long enough to cover half the length of what I want my cup size to be. And depending on your bust size, you may need more or fewer stitches. Next, I'm going to switch to my 5mm hook and chain an additional 3 stitches. Now I'm going to skip the first 3 stitches on my chain and go into the back hump of the chain. Here's a larger picture so you can better see where we need to place that first single crochet. It might also be useful to place a stitch marker in this chain 3 space because we'll need to know where it is in the next row. Now I'm just going to single crochet into the rest of my 14 stitches. You may have a different number, so go ahead and finish however many single crochets you need to get to the end of your chain. At the end of your foundation row, you should have something that looks like this. Now chain 1, turn your work, and place a single crochet into that first single crochet from the previous row. And continue to single crochet until you get to the chain 3 space from the foundation row. Now when you get to that chain 3 space from the foundation row, you'll want to place 3 single crochet stitches into that chain space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now after those 3 stitches, you'll want to continue to place single crochets into your foundation row. Make sure you have the same number of single crochets on this side as you initially chained. And again, for me, that was 15. Once you get to the end of the row, chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet into each stitch until you get to the second single crochet we placed in the chain 3 space. And we need to put 3 single crochet stitches into that second single crochet. Again, it might be useful to place a stitch marker into the second single crochet. Now I'm just going to place 1 single crochet into each single crochet from the previous row. And at the end of your row, you should have something that looks like this. Now once again, chain 1, turn your work, and place 1 single crochet into each stitch from the previous row until you get to the second single crochet from that group of 3 single crochets from the previous row. We'll want to place 3 single crochet stitches in that single crochet and 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches. And the remaining rows of the cup will be the same. We'll place 1 single crochet into each stitch and 3 single crochets into the second stitch from the group of 3 single crochets, and then single crochet for the rest of the row. Continue the pattern until you have almost the amount of coverage you want, as we will be adding 2 more rows. I have a total of 15 rows. Now we want to chain 1, turn our work, and place 1 half double crochet into that first stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 single crochet, and half double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, place 1 half double crochet into the next stitch. We'll want to continue this pattern until we get to the top of the cup. My next stitch is the first stitch from the group of 3 single crochets. I'm going to continue the row by placing 1 single crochet into each stitch for the rest of the row. Now that I've chained 1 and turned my work, I'm going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. And what I'm doing is I'm just creating a band that's going to be long enough to cover my bra. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and place 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. And you may have more or fewer stitches than I do. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work again, and place 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. Continue this pattern until the band is long enough to reach to the middle of your back. Make sure you have an odd number of rows. I have 25. At the end of your last row, chain 1 and cut your yarn. And this is what your cup with the band will look like. Now you're going to want to make a second cup and band identical to what you just made, but at the end of the last row on the second band, do not fasten off your yarn. To join the two bands together, I'm going to slip stitch, only using the inner 2 loops from each of the single crochets. Now I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet along the bottom of the band. In general, I want 1 single crochet for every row of the band. Now when I get to the actual cut part, I'm going to decrease every 3rd stitch or single crochet 2 together. I'm going to join the 2 cups with 1 half double crochet together. So yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, place your hook in the 1st stitch of the 2nd cup, pull up 1 loop, then yarn over and pull through all loops on your hook. I'm going to decrease every 3rd stitch on the cup and then continue to single crochet around the band for the rest of the round. And here we can see our 2 cups attached by a band. I'm going to work in a continuous round, so I'm going to be using a stitch marker to keep track of where my first stitch is. Now I'm just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch from the previous round. I'm coming to the end of my round, so I'm just going to continue by placing 1 single crochet into that first stitch, putting my stitch marker back, and then I'm going to continue to single crochet for this round as well. Now I am going to increase 1 single crochet on each of the sides of my top just to add a little bit of width, but you may or may not need that. Now I've come to the end of my 3rd round of single crochets, and I'm going to do 1 more round, and I'm just going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Now I'm at the end of my fourth round of single crochets, and I'm going to finish off by placing one slip stitch into the first single crochet. Chain 3, and place one triple crochet into that same stitch. Now chain 1, skip one single crochet, and place one triple crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip one stitch, and place one triple crochet into the next stitch. And this will be the pattern we continue for the rest of the round. Now I'm at the end of my round, and I'm going to place one more triple crochet into the last stitch. I will have two triple crochets right next to each other, and that happened because I have an odd number of stitches from the previous round. So I'm just going to slip stitch into that first triple crochet, and this is the end of the round. Now I'm going to chain 1 and place one single crochet into each triple crochet and chain 1 space for the rest of the round. I'm going to end this round with one slip stitch to the first single crochet. To begin the next round, skip 2 stitches and place 2 double crochets into the third stitch. Place one triple crochet and 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. Now skip 2 stitches and place one slip stitch into the third stitch. Now skip 2 stitches and into the third stitch, place 2 double crochets, one triple crochet, and 2 more double crochets. Skip 2 stitches and place one slip stitch into the third stitch. And this is the pattern we will repeat for the rest of the round. Now I'm at the end of my round. You may have an extra stitch or two, like I do here, but it won't be terribly noticeable. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the third stitch. Now I'm going to slip stitch up to the triple crochet from the fan. I'm going to chain 5 and place one slip stitch into the triple crochet on the next fan. Chain 5 and place one slip stitch into the triple crochet. If you want to add more width to this section, I would suggest chaining 6 instead of 5 in between the slip stitches. So at the end of my round, I'm going to chain 5 and place one slip stitch into the first fan from the previous round. I'm going to slip stitch over into the chain 5 space, chain 1, and place 5 single crochets into the chain 5 space. I'm going to place one single crochet into the slip stitch and continue to place 5 single crochets into each chain 5 space. This will be the pattern for the rest of the round. 5 single crochets into each chain 5 space and 1 single crochet into each slip stitch. After that, I'm going to do one more round of single crochets. Now chain 3 and triple crochet into that first stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and triple crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and triple crochet into the next stitch. This will be the pattern for the rest of the round. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the first triple crochet from the round. Now I need a little more width to the top, so I'm going to place 2 single crochets into every 5th stitch. But if you don't need additional width, you can just place 1 single crochet into each triple crochet and 1 single crochet into each chain 1 space. End this round by slip stitching into the first single crochet. Skip 2 stitches, and into the 3rd stitch place 2 double crochets, 1 triple crochet, and 2 more double crochets. Now skip 2 stitches and slip stitch into the 3rd stitch. Skip 2 stitches, and into the 3rd stitch place 2 double crochets, 1 triple crochet, and 2 more double crochets. Skip 2 stitches and slip stitch into the 3rd stitch. This will be the pattern for the rest of the round. For the next round, I'm going to slip stitch into the triple crochet, chain 6, and slip stitch into the next triple crochet, chain 6, and slip stitch into the next triple crochet. I'm placing an extra chain to add more width, but if you don't need the width, then only chain 5. I'm ending the round with a chain 6, and then slip stitching into the first triple crochet from the previous round. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 6 space, chain 1, and place 6 single crochets into the chain 6 space. Place 1 single crochet into the slip stitch and continue to place 6 single crochets into the chain 6 space. Now if you chained 5 instead of chaining 6, go ahead and place 5 single crochets into each chain 5 space. This will be our pattern repeat for the rest of the round. And after this round, I did 1 more round of single crochets. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet, chain 3, and triple crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and triple crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and triple crochet into the next stitch. We're going to do this for the rest of the round. I'm going to add 1 more round of fans and 1 more round of triple crochets with a round of single crochets in between them for length, but if you want a shorter top, then you can finish off here. I'm going to finish the bottom of the top with 1 round of half double crochets. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet, chain 1, and fasten off my work. To make the straps, I'm going to attach the yarn in the stitch to the right of the top single crochet stitch. I'm attaching with a slip stitch, then I'm going to chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch, then single crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet in those 2 stitches. Chain 1, turn your work again, and single crochet in those next 2 stitches. Repeat enough rows of single crochet so you have enough length for your strap. I'm going to do 40. And I accidentally deleted the clip of me attaching the strap to the top, but here's the technique. Make sure the wrong sides of the strap and of the back are together. Place your hook in the first stitch of the strap and into the back of the top and make a slip stitch. Place your hook into the second stitch of the strap and into the back of the top and attach with a slip stitch. Then chain one and fasten off your yarn. This is what your work will look like after you attach both straps. Now I'm going to attach my yarn in the center of the back of the top with a slip knot, and I'm going to single crochet all the way around. So over to the straps and up the straps down to the cups. I'm going to place 5 half double crochets in the first chain one space on the cup. Now I'm going to place 1 slip stitch in the next chain one space, 5 half double crochets in the next chain one space, and 1 slip stitch in the next chain one space. This is going to be the pattern repeat until we get to the bottom of the cup. I'm going to place 1 slip stitch in the second to the last half double crochet, 1 slip stitch in the last chain one space, and another slip stitch in the last half double crochet. Now I'm going to slip stitch in the first half double crochet from the other cup, slip stitch into the first chain one space, and slip stitch into the next half double crochet. Slip stitch into the next chain one space, and now I'm going to place 5 half double crochets in the next chain one space. After that, we'll put 1 slip stitch in the next chain one space, 5 half double crochets in the next chain one space, and we'll repeat that until we get to the top of the cup. Now I'm going to place single crochets into the strap and across the back to where we first attached the yarn. I'm going to end this section with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, chain one, and fasten off my yarn. I'm going to attach my yarn with a slip stitch to the side of the top, in between the cup and the strap. I'm going to place single crochets over to the cup, up the cup, down the strap, and back to where I started. I'm going to end this round of single crochets with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. We'll want to do this with the other side, so attach your yarn in between the other cup and the other strap and make a round of single crochets. And again, when you're done, attach with a slip stitch, chain one, and fasten off your work. For the strap in the front, you can either make a braid or a long chain. I made a braid and knotted it off. Now I'm just going to weave this braid in through the chain one spaces of the cups like a shoelace. I'm going to tie it off with the bow, and my top is all finished. Thanks for watching.